Past few years, we've followed the story of the three dads, Andy, Mike and Tim. They've been fundraising in memory of their daughters who took their own lives.
And for the latest challenge, they're walking 500 miles from Stirling to Norwich. They're expected to reach Norwich and the finish line this morning, which is where our reporter Alison Freeman is today. Alison, what set the scene for us in terms of, like, they're coming in, it's going to be a lovely weekend, but these are going to be three very tired gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right, Naga. It's going to be in just a few hours' time that they're going to end up here in the centre of Norwich. They've walked 500 miles from Stirling in Scotland down the east coast of England to here, the City Hall. This walk's been all about change. You know, the three dads, they each lost a daughter to suicide. And what this walk has been about is talking about how the way we talk about this very sensitive subject has changed and become a lot easier. Let's see how that journey to get here has been.
My dad's boots are old and worn, my dad's face is tired and drawn, but my dad's feet will meet the dawn, my dad's walking on.
Every day we've been joined again by suicide-bereaved parents, suicide-bereaved families. And it's that reminder to us that suicide happens everywhere across the country. It doesn't discriminate.
From Lakeland Hill to Eastern Fen, 300 miles and back again.
We still carry our grief, we always will, but I think we've now we've got a point to our lives.
Torn in two, no words can hold the pain he knew.
All the school children we've met and have clapped us on the way, when we've gone to talk to engage with them, we haven't spoken to them about suicide prevention. They have spoken to us about suicide prevention.
My dad will not be ashamed. My dad's walking on.
They've called it their Walk of Hope. 500 miles from Stirling to Norwich to highlight a change in the way we approach the subject of suicide and to call for more to be done to stop young people taking their own lives. The need was as ever clear, with those that turned out to support them sharing their own stories of loss.
In the northeast, we've got a real problem with young people taking their lives, and really anything to raise awareness and talk more about mental health is like really important.
Because they've got such a special voice and and they've got the ear of politicians. I just think, really giving them that validation that there's a whole community behind them.
We came across each other by chance, by tragic chance, but we're amazing support for each other.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
So unfortunate that we have to go through such suffering to see what's needed out there for making sure other people aren't in our situation.
The three dads, Andy, Mike and Tim, set out 25 days ago, walking almost a marathon every day, past well-known landmarks, with young people turning out in number along the way.
There's lots of mental health ambassadors who've had special training, so if you need help you can easily have access to it.
I think it's quite good because it brings awareness to how suicide affects people and things.
It's quite inspirational to hear the kids speak, and the kids aren't fazed by it. They know why they should be taught about these things and how to make themselves safe.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you? Lovely day.
In Durham, in front of the cathedral, the leader of the opposition met the dads and listened to why they want suicide prevention to be a compulsory topic in schools.
So our question is, why aren't we talking to them about it? So that's all we're asking.
We have to talk about it. This idea that if you don't talk about it, somehow better is just out of date now.
Yeah.
I've got a 15-year-old boy, I've got a 13-year-old girl, and if anything happened to one of them, I'm not sure I would have the courage to do what these dads are doing.
They are pushing for suicide prevention to be put on the curriculum, something every child should be taught about. Do you think that's something that, if you do form a government, you might be able to offer them?
I do think this is important. We said that if we come into government, we'll have a curriculum review, because I want to look at the curriculum more broadly. I don't want to preempt the outcome of that, but I'm absolutely determined that well-being will be central to that, and therefore suicide prevention needs to be part of what our children are talking about and being taught at school.
On some days, they walked with a handful of people who wanted to share their stories. On others, large crowds of supporters. They've also stumbled into weddings, made friends with farm animals.
Mike's got a new friend.
Yeah, he keeps shoving me though.
and had very special fly pasts. There have also been four-legged companions like OK9 Alfie. He helps firefighters at Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service, which has lost some staff members to suicide. Today, the three dads' third walk finally comes to an end, but it's clear that the impact they're having goes on.
Three dads walking on.
Well, the dads have been raising money, more than £1 million, for the suicide prevention charity Papyrus, and some of the charity peeps are here getting ready for their arrival. You've been walking along the way with them as well, haven't you, Hazel? Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Just tell me what a difference the dads have made to Papyrus over their 4 years of campaigning, really.
Absolutely. Our profile has raised immeasurably since they've got involved with us. They know how to talk about suicide. They're very engaging. People really relate to what they say and what they've been through and their message. And I can't thank them enough for getting the word out there and spreading the word and helping us prevent young suicide.
Look, it's all about change, this walk. They've wanted to say, look, things are changing, the landscape is changing, but they've made a big difference to you as well. Tell us what those differences are.
Well, since they started supporting us, we've been able to take our helpline, Hopeline, to a 24/7 service, which is just amazing. So we're there 24 hours a day, all over the UK, for young people who are in distress or at risk of suicide, but also for all those people who look after them, mums, dads, nurses, teachers, doctors. They can ring us at any time of the day or night, and there will be somebody on the end of the phone who is trained, professional person who'll be able to help them.
We talk about change, but what has been striking on this walk, whenever we've seen them, and I'm sure whenever you've seen them, still the volume of parents, families who have been touched by suicide. Does it ever surprise you?
No, I don't think it does ever surprise me. It's terribly humbling, and it's also very motivating working in the sector. Even this year, this is their third walk, looking at their Just Giving page, which you can get to from their website. There's comments on there from people who are only hearing about them for the first time, hearing about us for the first time, and who are telling their story for the first time and feeling able to share their experiences with us. And I do think that is very cathartic, and I do know that the dads enjoy hearing those stories, and I know it motivates them to go on and do more.
And they've needed motivating. It's been hard, hasn't it?
It's very hard.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Crack on with your preparations. We're going to wander on over here now. Yesterday, I think you saw in the tape there that there was an OK9 dog walking with them, and we've got our very special little chap here, Alfie, with handler Karen. Essentially, we know that you walked yesterday because Tim's local to the area, and he's done a lot of work with you guys, because there have been a number of suicides, haven't there, within the fire and rescue service here. Just tell us a little bit about why you decided to turn out for Tim yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim's been a friend of the service for a long time, and we wanted to support him. It was a real privilege to walk with him. The work they've been doing, and Three Dads really struck a chord with us in Norfolk Fire and Rescue. Our work is around prevention and saving life ultimately, and that's what both Papyrus and Three Dads Walking is all about. So really pleased to be able to support them yesterday, and some of our teams have been supporting them all this week.
Little Alfie there, come on Alfie, let's have a little look at you. Tell us a little bit about the role of Alfie then, Karen, if you would.
So we have within service OK9 Wellbeing Trauma Support Dogs, and we take them into service when they're needed to support crews. So it might be they've had a particularly difficult incident. Obviously our crews are used to dealing with trauma all the time, but it doesn't make it any easier. So their wellbeing is a top priority for us. So we find that if we take the dog in to speak to them, it helps to open up those conversations around how they're feeling their own mental health, relax a little bit. Everyone likes a dog cuddle, gives a good release of oxytocin as well, so everyone enjoys the visits. And we've got all these dogs in service now who can support us in helping with mental health. It's one of the many things we're doing to support our staff at the moment.
There were so many people out yesterday. You're local to the area. Are you surprised about the welcome that they've had here?
Yes, I think Norfolk came out, and we even got the sun coming out just as they crossed the border into Norfolk. So the last few days, it's been really good to see the people of Norfolk turn out, and I hope everyone's turning out this morning to welcome them into the city.
Brilliant, lovely. Thank you so much to you, Karen, and to Alfie. I've got to get a stroke there. Look, we've seen a little video in the last few minutes showing the number of people that are with the dads as they walk these final few steps into Norwich city centre, and they will be here just before 10 o'clock. Back to you guys.
Look forward to it. We'll see you then with Alfie, hopefully, as well. Looking very cute this morning.
Always need a dog in the morning. Dog or two always makes you smile.
Cheers up.
If you have been affected by anything that we've been discussing, help and support is available from BBC Action Line. You can visit bbc.co.uk/Action Line. We've been following the story of the three dads, Andy, Mike and Tim. They've been fundraising in memory of their daughters who took their own lives.
Well, for their latest challenge, they're walking 500 miles from Stirling to Norwich. They're expected to cross the finish line this morning. Our reporter Alison Freeman is waiting for them. Alison, morning to you. You were showing us around a little earlier, the build-up to their return, and they'll be quite tired when they get to you this morning.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. Some of the times we've seen them this week, they have been looking a little tired. They're walking almost a marathon every day. In fact, they've walked 500 miles from Stirling all the way down the east coast to here in Norwich, where we're just outside the City Hall. They'll be here in, well, just over an hour's time, in fact. They've been walking in aid of the suicide prevention charity Papyrus. We've got some of the guys from the charity here just getting the finish line ready, aren't you, Hazel? They've raised more than £1 million for you, which has changed the way you can operate, hasn't it?
It has. It's been a game changer in terms of money raised, but also the awareness of the prevalence of young suicide, and also what we do at Papyrus as well. Overnight, we've been hearing from people who've been posting about meeting the three dads yesterday. It's enabled them to go home and have a conversation with their young daughter, and they're therefore removing the stigma even more every time it's talked about. So, yeah, they've been amazing.
It's not just money, it's about changing the way we speak.
It's changing the way we speak, the way we act and the way we react to somebody who's feeling suicidal, and signposting that there is help out there.
Lovely, thank you so much. I'll let you get on putting the finishing line out. We've seen a little video that the guys have sent me this morning. They've got about 50 or so people walking with them. That's how much they're having an impact. People know about them, and in turn they're finding out about suicide prevention and how we prevent our young people taking their own lives. Back to you, Ben and Naga.
Alison, thanks so much. We shall see you later.
Now, for the past few years, we have followed the story of the three dads, Andy, Mike and Tim. They've been fundraising in memory of their daughters who took their own lives.
For the latest challenge, they're walking 500 miles from Stirling to Norwich. They're expected to cross the finish line this morning, and our reporter Alison Freeman has been at that finish line waiting with those who love those three dads to cheer them on home.
Yeah, that's right, Naga. Yeah, we're at the finish line now. We've got the supporters waving their flags. Come on cue. This is the point where those dads are going to finish their latest challenge, that 500-mile walk from Stirling to here in Norwich. It's all about suicide prevention, raising awareness of it, as well as raising money for the suicide prevention charity Papyrus. As I say, they're going to come around that corner in just a few minutes' time. But first, let's see what the journey's been like to get them here. We're waiting for the dads to just come around that corner, and joining me now is Jed Flynn from the charity Papyrus. Jed, what does today mean to you?
A transformation from tragedy into hope, from having 5 offices to having 20 hubs around the country, from having a part-time helpline staffed by professionals there every day, round the clock now because of these guys and the many people who support Papyrus. Transformation is the word for in my head today.
Here comes the cheer, here they come. Looks like they're coming around the corner now, Jed. Jed, look at them, they must be exhausted, right?
Yeah, I only walked 7 miles with them and it's been terribly tiring, but they've walked 500 miles from the north of these islands right the way down here to the east of England. It's incredibly powerful. Look at that scene. Life with every step. Every story shared is a life saved. Somebody telling us that these dads have saved lives. It's so powerful.
They've got their daughters on their chest there. Tim with Emily, Andy with Sophie, and Mike, well, with his dog Monty, but also with Beth. Here they come across the line. Congratulations, guys, you've done it!
Yeah, incredible. 530 odd miles, and yeah, supported by so many people, it's incredible.
Today, this is just a small glimpse, isn't it, of the number of people that have turned out, some familiar faces that you've met over the years. What is that emotion like when you see how much support you still have?
It's the support from across the country. We've got lots of people locally here, but also people who've travelled nationally to be with us as they cross the finish line, many bereaved people, all of them saying exactly what, Papyrus is such a fantastic charity and we need to prevent more suicide. So, yeah, it's great to have their support, and support in Norfolk and across the country has been fantastic.
I'm going to come now to Andy. We're going to do my usual up and down the line with you guys, if you don't mind. Look, we're having a lot of fun and a lot of laughter, but this is a serious subject. We've got Sophie there with you. How important is it that you have done this much?
It's always a surprise, actually. The thing was, after we lost Sophie, we didn't know what to do. And it was when we were looking for a charity to support at her funeral that we were introduced to Papyrus. And once you realise what great work they do, I couldn't help but get stuck in. And here I am nearly 5 years later. And it is very important to achieve this in terms of fundraising, but more importantly, raising the awareness of the charity and the life-saving work they do. So I would encourage everybody to go and look at the Papyrus website, get out there and find out what they can do to offer support to young people. And we're doing that, we'll save lives.
Look, this walk has been about change. I'm going to come down and have a little chat with Mike as well. Mike, we've got Beth there with you. This has been about change, hasn't it? But we've spoken over this past couple of weeks about the number of people that are still coming out, still talking to you about their own stories of loss. It must be so difficult to still be hearing this.
It is difficult, but but that's why we walk. We walk in the memory of our girls and all those who have been lost. But sadly, if we don't do something, positive, we are going to lose more and more kids, and we're joined by parents every day, and some only recently have taken their own lives, or the kids have only recently taken their own lives, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. But what we believe we can do with Papyrus as well. The Papyrus Prevention of Young Suicide is known in every corner of the UK, and every family, every school, every organisation, basically everyone knows about Hope Line 247. It will save lives.
We know that this also helps you in a way, doesn't it, with your own journey of grief?
Definitely. It is certainly, you have to refocus after you've lost someone, and certainly in my case I've refocused on my family, but also what I do with these two. I'd never thought I'd be walking 1,000 miles plus with these two characters, but but it very much gives you a purpose. It gives you something to get out of bed for. But we believe so many families just don't have to go through this terrible grief, and we've got to do it looking like we do, quite ridiculous in many ways. We'll do it.
You've raised an extraordinary amount of money as well, haven't you? Well over £1 million. How much have you done on this? I mean, you're saying in the bucket alone you'd had a good few thousand.
The bucket, in a cashless society, we've raised pushing £15,000 on this walk, which is quite amazing, isn't it? But we're over 110,000 or something like that. But we're looking for 150,000. So if anybody wants to donate, do go to the Three Dads Walking website, threedadswalking.uk, press the donate button, and that will take you to our Just Giving page. And that funds go to fund Papyrus and their life-saving work.
Brilliant. Look, it is a very serious subject, but it hasn't all been sadness along the way, has it? You've had quite a few laughs, would you say?
Oh, just one or two. But what goes on the walk stays on the walk.
That's no fun.
No, it's been incredibly funny. The most heartwarming was when Andy became parent to a lamb.
Oh, yeah.
When he came across a newborn lamb, and the first thing this newborn lamb saw was Andy, so Andy became lamb mom for a minute. Poor lamb, scarred for life. But it's been wonderful meeting some of the parents and the stories and stuff. It's been great.
Lovely. Look, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. One last cheer for the dads, do we think, everybody? Fantastic. Right, that's it. 500 miles, the Walk of Hope. They've completed it, Naga and Ben.
They absolutely have. What an achievement. Alison, thank you. So lovely to hear those stories this morning. Thank you.
Now,